What would this look like at 2 a.m. on a Saturday?
People would be dancing on this stage. You end up having thousands of people in the course of a night.
Nightlife is a huge ecosystem, supporting nearly 300,000 jobs in New York City, from people who work in clubs and bars to freelancers who design how they look and sound.
Have you considered laying off your staff?
Yeah.
Are you going to do that?
We are. Unfortunately, yes.
With no income or job prospects for the foreseeable future, many don't know how they'll restart when the crisis is over.
I don't know, it just feels so hopeless.
I was originally working in publishing and journalism, and then the recession hit, and I just completely moved over to bartending and bar management because it seemed a lot more recession-proof. And of course, I, at the time, was not considering pandemics at all.
John Barclay owns Bossanova Civic Club in Brooklyn, New York.
My number one priority is trying to get our employees paid, because I had 12, 15 people that have been just working here for essentially 7 years and making this place what it is, and now they're just in really, really bad shape.
So why would you lay off employees?
They understand that's the best path for unemployment insurance right now. There's just no way that this business could afford to pay them for months, especially considering the fact that most of their pay comes from tips.
I'm a freelance lighting designer. I have my own business and I hire other gig employees and freelance employees. All of the nightclubs that I would be working for, all of the dance floors currently under construction, all of those projects have either ground to a halt or are themselves canceled, as those nightclub owners are now wondering how they're going to pay their rent.
Most businesses, small businesses, only have about 2 weeks of cash flow, even in good days. No one's arguing that we should be staying open during this period, but something has to give. We fundamentally believe that music and nightlife are part of personal identity, personal expression, and it's one of the things that makes New York City so vibrant and so culturally diverse. And so it's really important. I mean, you see people here that can really come here and be themselves when they can't necessarily be themselves in other elements of their life. And that's true of our audience as well as our staff. It's people who couldn't imagine doing anything else with their lives because this is where they belong. We sort of as a society value that nightlife is something that we should support and champion and save. We really do need that government assistance.
A government stimulus package could help small businesses, but many nightlife workers wonder if that will be enough to keep the industry going. Some of them have started raising money online through GoFundMe and Patreon, but they say they can't make up for systemic failure through a patchwork of internet fundraisers.
I want to believe that this community, through reaching out to one another, can support each other, but that's like asking us to collectively pull each other up by our own bootstraps. Now with no events, with no inflow of capital to keep all of this turning, then we're all just collectively going broke.
Coronavirus is crashing into long-standing problems. 40% of Americans can't afford an emergency $400 expense. And between 2008 and 2017, 1 in 4 New York residents were paying half or more of their income in rent, according to a recent report from the state.
Unless the city puts some kind of clamp on rent for businesses and also individuals themselves, I don't see how people can survive. They're just bleeding money.
Are you worried you might have to close down forever?
Terrified, yeah. I think everybody in this world is.
What would you do?
I have no clue. I'd probably have to move back in with my mother.
Do you think it'll be able to go back to the way it was when the crisis is over?
That for a long time. And I think that it's going to look very, very different.
After a pandemic of this nature where crowds are the danger, how do we ever look at engaging en masse the same way?